Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today we got something pretty fun in store. We're going to be recreating a shot from one of my favorite Denis Villeneuve movies. You might know it, it's got lots of sand in it. That's right, baby, Blade Runner 2049, the sandiest of Denis movies. We're going to be channeling some Gosling, and we're going to be doing it without sets, without actors, without $1 million budgets. But you know what we do have? We got Blender and a green screen, and that's the next best thing. Alright, before we get started, let's go over the shot that we're going to be recreating from Blade Runner 2049. This is the shot. Pretty simple shot, cool shot. I love this shot. They did it on the day, all practically, and we don't have that luxury, so we're going to be recreating this environment in CG. So we have kind of three elements here. We have the landscape, we have the big sky fog, and then we have our character. So let's get started on the CG environment first. Okay, first things first, we got a plane. We subdivided that plane so we can add a displacement modifier onto it. Then we're gonna bring that modifier down a little bit so it's a little bit more subtle, but we still have some terrain to work with. It's not just one flat plane. This is me now adjusting my camera to fit with my reference to my left. I'm adjusting the plane a little bit more, adjust the camera. Now we gotta make the camera the correct sizing. Now let's add a material to the surface, something sandy, and a big light. And now we can start kind of working in some of the details that we see in the reference, like the rocks. Here's my big rocks. Now I'm only going to use kind of the top of this model, and so I'm going to have to delete the geometry that's under my plane, which is fine. So we just got to highlight and then delete that geometry that we'll never see. And then I just added a guy in there just as a reference so that I know where to put my plate footage once I have my plate footage. Now I'm adjusting the skybox and then adding in some fog. Now once my fog's been added, I basically have every element I need to recreate this scene, and it comes down to just iterating and iterating over time, and getting as close to the reference as possible. I'm changing the material on the ground, I'm changing the color of the lighting, I'm changing the density of the fog, I'm changing the positioning of the rocks. I mean, it's just iteration after iteration, just trying to work until we get a result that's as close to the reference as we can get. You might look at the scene and be like, yeah, it's pretty simple. There's literally three elements, a plate, a couple rocks, a landscape, and some fog. But at the same time, sometimes the simplest scene recreations can be just as difficult as the more complicated ones, because since it's so simple, it's really about getting those fine details correct. Because if you don't, then it just won't look like the reference at all, and that's not what we want. So I just kept going in, readjusting until we get to a point where I feel that that's kind of as close as we're gonna get. And one thing I always try to remember is that the viewport in Blender is not what the final color is gonna look like. You know, you can always help yourself with compositing and color correction after the fact. Okay, we're looking pretty good, looking pretty close. Now it's time to set up our green screen. So here I am being a working man and putting up that big old screen so that we can record our plate footage. And here I am just walking gingerly, trying to be sneaky, just like Ryan Gosling is in the movie. And now bring it into After Effects, and we're going to use Mask Prompter, a paid-for plugin, to rotoscope me using the help of some AI tools. Then let's just throw ourselves into our scene. We'll delete our stand-in guy, and then now it's again just adjusting until we get something that's really close to the reference. One thing that really helps us here is that our subject in the scene is a silhouette, and so integrating our plate footage into our CG landscape is pretty easy, almost drag and drop, and that wouldn't be the case if our subject wasn't in silhouette. So it makes things a little easier. All right, so now let's bring our footage into After Effects and do some color correction and compositing. We're gonna add some vignettes. We're gonna change the color of the scene and the lighting a little bit to try and emulate our reference. And after that, we're done. So without further ado, here is my recreated Blade Runner shot. Well, there you have it. That's my recreation of this shot from Blade Runner 2049. I think it went pretty well for zero budget and being alone, as always. So I'm pretty happy with it. If you guys have any suggestions for any other scenes you would like me to recreate, I'm always looking at the comments, suggest down below, and maybe I'll try to do one or two. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon.